of Gouverneur Warren in command of this assault, trying to rally the Marylanders, which had to push them on. But in the end, again, of course, they don't really succeed in these first assaults. Spotsylvania Courthouse from here, the actual community and the crossroads, is about 2.5, 3 miles from where we're standing. Not far at all, but it's just that last little bit that the federal forces can't get through to. So, major success on the Confederate Army's part in blocking that advance, but again, it means the lines are going to spread out from here. You do have not only the Union Army, the bulk of the Union Army threatening down here on Brock Road, you also have another branch under Ambrose Burnside. Anybody remember Ambrose Burnside from the Battle of Fredericksburg? Yeah, he's back on scene in 1864. He's not in command of the army because, well, Fredericksburg, but he is still in command of his old 9th Corps, and they are threatening Spotsylvania Courthouse from the other side. So, as the Confederate forces respond to this, they're going to spread their lines out in 2 different directions. You actually have main Union forces on the Brock Road. You've got Burnside over on the other side of the courthouse, and then courthouse being the community, of course. And then you've got Winfield Scott Hancock coming in from the other direction. So you've got really forces converging in multiple directions, which means the Confederates need to build a line that blocks Spotsylvania Courthouse from multiple directions. You'll see them building lines spreading both directions from here, and then you'll see them building a very curious shaped line, which you can see on your maps, where you see it labeled the mule shoe. And that's what we'll be talking about next. What happens once the Confederates construct the mule shoe salient? They call it a mule shoe instead of a horseshoe. I'm not as up on the details of the difference, but it's very similar to a horseshoe, but these soldiers have been a lot more familiar with the difference. So they said mule shoe, will go with it. It's essentially a salient, which means that anyone who's inside is firing out in a lot of different directions. And anyone who wants to fire at that salient is firing in one direction. It makes it very vulnerable. It's a real weak point in the line, but it's constructed following the high ground, following the success here, and with the idea that if they pack it full of artillery, it'll hold. So we'll be testing that idea once we get back to the main section of our hike. But for now, we see the failed attempt by the Marylanders and the rest of the 5th Corps to take this position, and then the Union Army trying to figure out what to do next. So we're going to loop our way back through Laurel Hill, back to the Union earthworks that they dig into after this attack fails. So as we're walking along the gravel road on our way back, keep an eye out to your right, because we'll be passing several different sections of earthworks built by the Union forces here after the attacks on May 8th failed. So, any questions? Yeah.
What is the ratio between the state of Maryland fighting for the North and South at this point?
That's a good question. I'm afraid I don't know the difference between the two. They are one of the states that has regiments on both sides, which is good to keep in mind. I would say probably slightly more fighting for the Union forces because they are still a Union state, and because a lot of Marylanders who are looking for a regiment are going to be jumping to Virginia, essentially to join up. But I don't know the ratio.
If you throw in the Navy, it's about 2/3 Maryland.
For the Union?
Yeah, if you throw in the
Navy,
Navy too.
Okay.
It's a little bit more just straight up, but I just grew up with that.
Well, you can't discount the Navy.
Yeah, no, I mean include the Navy.
Yeah.
It's
Any other
a lot.
questions at this point? All right, and let's head on.